Today, what did you do last week? We had nothing going on. This is ChillPoint.
You weren't even there. You can't claim I watched a good movie if you weren't around.
I've never seen a movie.
I mean, he was assuming that the movie you watched was good, because otherwise you wouldn't have watched it, being a discerning movie-watching individual.
I have a question. I've seen the chat move because it added a subscription, but are we actually online? Can people really see us?
Yeah, are we
there
live?
Was nothing about people doing things, and I don't know if it's just the chat monitor's not up to date or if chat's not there, and I feel very scared without chat. And this was not part of my contract agreement to be here without chat.
I am reading chat right now. It appears that the screen right there is not updating, though.
Okay.
So I blame Raspberry Pi.
We're only getting subscription notices.
I have a delicious...
I can't just talk to chat through subscription notices.
Right?
If you want to talk to Heather, you have to subscribe. That's how it works.
But there's a...
Is this thing just on subs only mode? Oh, no, there we go.
There they are.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
So glad they're back.
That's right. If you want to talk to us, you have to sub every time.
Welcome to ChillPoint, show where we talk about the week's video game news, as well as the episode of Checkpoint. So why not? And I'm here with Heather.
Hello.
And I thought Beige, but apparently not.
Sometimes beach, sometimes chair.
Yeah.
You can't have both.
Yeah. Wait, what happens to Chair when Beige is here?
It gets muffled. He's sitting in its mouth, just like you and me are.
He's really angry. I can try to keep him back, but
I don't like that.
No, you're not supposed to.
Is the seat the mouth of the chair?
Absolutely, it is. Actually, the seat might be more of the tongue of the chair, but up to you on your comfortability.
These are the important questions that we ask on ChillPoint.
Yep, that's what this whole show is about. It's just asking questions and getting nowhere.
If the seat is the tongue of the chair, it explains why I find chairs so incredibly comfortable.
Just really cups you. Mm-hmm. Keeps you nice and moist.
Well...
So, this show was this show was previously the show where we talked about video game news from the last week, as well as the episode of Checkpoint that just went up, which if you haven't seen, it's up on the LRRVG.
Oh yeah, I was in that
channel.
You were in that. You were there, definitely.
The two of you in unison, being like, we're so sick of his bullshit. Why does he act like this?
Yeah, all that the time for praising Beige for a job well done has passed.
That's
now.
fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, I'm fine.
So I hope you got yourself full up.
I got all I needed
You
for the
got
month of
praised
November.
Earlier this morning. You don't get any more. Specifically not on camera.
No, that's fair.
So let's talk about the episode of Checkpoint and the stories that we went over, starting with Dead Island 2. And which you be forgiven for not remembering that it was a thing, because we didn't.
Yeah, I even forgot this was a story that happened.
Yeah.
This is what happens when ChillPoint's a whole extra day apart.
It has been in development for 6 years. No, longer than that.
8, I thought.
8, yeah. And it's gone through 3 or 4 different developers. There was a game called Dead Island Epidemic, which was a MOBA that got canceled in 2015. A game called Dead Island Survivors, which was a mobile game that got shut down. It came out, but then got shut down in 2020. Nobody was playing it.
You know it is.
And yeah, the thing about that I liked about this story is that I played Dead Island, like the original Dead Island.
Oh,
not
okay.
not a lot, but like a little bit.
Was there anything alive on the island?
Because Graham Graham had it, and so we like I went over there one time. We went.
Paul
went
might
over there
be
and
part of
played
the
it.
problem as to why this got.
Graham paid actual money for that piece of horse shit. I just came over and watched.
Yeah, no, and I think we got it for like unskippable.
Makes sense.
Oh, right.
We might
okay,
even still
okay.
have it for unskippable.
And so, and it's like a fine, if not sort of very mediocre, first-person zombie game
Okay.
that came out at a time when there was a lot of zombie games coming out,
Yeah.
and it
There
was like
still are.
it was like yeah, it's fine. It's not the kind of game that you expect like people are really like passionate. It's like no, we're not gonna let this game die.
Like Left 4 Dead.
We're gonna work on this.
Yeah.
We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah. Left 4 Dead's one of those games that like everyone lost their mind about and continue to do so. And so of course they make a sequel. But like Dead Island, it's like I stopped hearing about that soon after we reported on the trailer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like when, for instance, Beyond Good and Evil doesn't get any,
Right.
is still in development hell. That's a game that I can see people really wanting a sequel for, but this I just don't think that there's like a huge, exciting, like people all pent up for a Doom Dead Island sequel.
Well, not even the developers because they changed how many times?
4. So
Four
At
times.
least 4 that we recommended.
Techland,
Recommended? Stated.
Techland, Jaeger, Sumo, and then
Internal team in Deep Silver.
Dam Buster.
Right, Dam Buster. Yeah.
Which, by the way, in terms of for the actual story on Checkpoint, the series of logos one on top
Oh,
of
those
each
were good.
other
Yeah.
as like a series of videos. It's something that we've done like that's happened, on a couple different,
Yeah.
for different things.
Yeah.
When like a whole bunch, it's gone through a bunch of different, when a game or a thing has gone through a bunch of different companies.
Yeah.
And that's one of my personal favorite graphical tropes, I guess you would call it.
It really drives home a thing and the feeling. And I do hope that when this game does eventually leave development hell, that they will also have that on the cover.
Right.
Just basically the logos piling up.
Yay, we got it out of dev hell. I mean, I'm not going to play this game, so I don't really care what happens to it at all.
Sure.
But what I do care about is that Paul said that he didn't think there was anyone really revving out for sequel and that it's not beloved. And so
presumably,
when I read the comments
Yeah.
for this later on the YouTube version, you are allowed to let me know that Paul is wrong. I don't need to know specifics or actual defenses about why you love this game because I really don't care.
No.
But I do want to know that Paul is wrong or not. So please tell me if Paul is wrong or not.
Oh, God.
yeah.
What?
To be honest,
I read these. I'm allowed to say what I want.
But it also means that Paul has to be right for the rest of the episode. Because if he's wrong for other things, we'll never know what
Paul
he's wrong
is
for.
wrong for other things, you do need to specify what he is wrong for.
But
in that instance, for Dead Island 2, you can just say Paul is wrong.
I do like the I personally would also be like if there's this like massive underground excitement for Dead Island, I kind of want to know about it.
Sure.
And Paul wants to know about it, so maybe actually say Paul is wrong. Dead Island 2 is going to be the Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody has to put Electric Boogaloo in
It's going
the
to save the
second title,
orphanage.
right? Kingdom Hearts did that, right? Kingdom Hearts called it Kingdom Hearts Electric Boogaloo.
One of
Every
them.
sequel does that.
Yeah.
Also, in their notice that they were delaying it for 12 weeks, 12 short weeks. Which I don't know what's a short week as opposed to a regular length week.
It's a week where you take out 1 minute
Oh,
out of the
okay.
week, so
Oh.
it's a little shorter, but it doesn't seem shorter to the audience.
I thought it was the ones where you have like a 3-day weekend. That's
Oh,
a short
okay.
week. Yeah.
I mean that's only in work time.
We will bring this game out in 12 weeks. It would have been 9 weeks, but we want to take a couple 3-day weekends in there. And you know what? I
You know
can
what?
respect
I'm
that.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
I can
okay
respect.
with-
Hey, it's Christmas, right?
It's Christmas sometime over these 12 weeks.
But they said in the notes said the irony of delaying Dead Island 2 is not lost on us,
Good.
which
What's the irony of it?
Yeah, unless there's something particular about like maybe Dead Island 2's story involves something being delayed.
Yes.
It's the
Because otherwise,
irony-
like just it being delayed again is not ironic. It's
No.
just
it's the
it
irony
happened
that
again.
we didn't tell anybody it was delayed before, and now we are.
It's par for the course, is what it is. It's
Anyway.
Clearly, you were all expecting that this is going to be delayed again, and you were right.
I mean, it's nothing like say rain on our wedding day.
Yeah.
Nothing that ironic.
I guess if it's the expectation that they were like, no, we finally nailed it. It's going to come out at this time. We're never going to delay it again. Like they were like that. And then they're like, yes, we did that multiple times before, didn't we? Where we said it was definitely coming out on this day.
Never do that.
But yeah.
Never. Never do the definitely. Definitely,
Anyway.
we're gonna like no.
Good luck, Dead Island 2. I hope your mom's watching.
Tell her I said hi.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Hey, not like that. That's unnecessary.
Say hi to your mom for me?
Yeah, okay, I'll accept that.
Let's talk about some Pokemon stuff.
Yeah,
Have either of you actually played the new?
I've played a little.
Yeah,
Scarlet
talk to
Violet?
her.
Beach will never play a Pokemon game.
No,
Oh.
please.
As much as I try.
I didn't realize that you were morally opposed to
I can't-
caging animals in spheres.
I guess I'm racist.
What?
that wasn't the way I thought that was gonna go.
All right, Beach is banned
Well,
from the rest of this
It
conversation.
didn't expect it me either. So no, I think it's just it's like it was like JRPGs. I just kind of like I really love JRPGs, but then they've gotten longer and longer and longer, and so I really bounced off that. But then the idea of like you have to fill out a Pokedex, you have to catch all these animals, and I'm like, oh no,
Oh right.
oh no,
Oh, that's right. You've got like
oh
collective
right,
brain
yeah.
syndrome.
yeah, I can't do that.
It's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
You
okay.
can't-
I think you would enjoy Arceus.
Yeah, probably.
Arceus, Arceus, whatever you want to call it. I will not be taking pronunciation guidelines from anyone in chat.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Now or later.
Pokemon's Violet Scarlet. With the general consensus that I have heard from both reviewers and friends is that one of the great game from a gameplay perspective, but marred by some extreme technical issues.
The thing is, I haven't actually run into any of the extreme issues yet. I think the majority of those have been in possibly the multiplayer section,
That's fair.
which I have not done yet. So most of my issues have been the shadows are definitely unsure if they're shadows sometimes. The moon kind of looked like a bit of like it might be trying to escape into a crumpled piece of paper once, which was kind of funny, but I couldn't replicate it.
Like kind of a
to the
Manjora's Mask
video.
kind of thing going on.
No, like it's just it's a flat circle, and the way I put the camera on it, it kind of looked like it was curling into a thing, and it was
Oh.
I really liked that.
Like the
to be
sticker
honest.
was just kind of peeling
yeah,
off the
like
sky.
the sticker was coming off.
That has a whole implications to the Pokemon universe.
Holy shit, I'm so high.
There's some like there's definitely been some like pop in I've seen with Pokemon that seems a little weird, and some of that like everyone looks like they're stop motion animation.
Right, as they
Sometimes
get-
a little closer than they should. Than
As they
really.
get farther away, they start getting more. Yeah.
So there's a part in the beginning where you go into the school, and when I went to the classroom, every single student in that classroom, regardless of how close I was to them, looked like they were in stop animation.
Was that
That didn't bother me.
was
'cause I
that
just
stop
don't-
motion animation class that you had gone into?
No. It was
Okay.
a biology class, and they didn't seem to really get how biology worked.
Yeah.
I'm a little
it's-
concerned that they still don't understand where Pokemon eggs come from, and they just show up in a basket.
Ooh.
I mean the biology and frankly a lot of science disciplines in the Pokemon universe must be totally bizarre.
Probably. I'm just a little concerned that it's being taught in the classroom that way.
Mm-hmm.
I really think they should be allowed to teach sex education in the classroom properly.
And not at 5
Wait.
frames per second?
Yeah.
Do they
There's classes you can actually take, and the teacher will do a little extra thing.
right.
When a mommy Pokemon and daddy Pokemon love each other very much. An egg appears in a basket.
Real sex education, please, in the classroom.
Yeah.
Do Yeah.
He puts
I
his
guess
tongue
it's
in her
the-
nose and a baby comes out.
I guess it's never established how humans procreate in the Pokemon universe.
No, but with the Machamps
Well,
and the
I
Mr.
think- I think-
Mimes sitting
I think
around, you
the
probably
fact
don't
that
want to
they
get into
don't come
that.
from eggs is why people don't get classified as Pokemon.
Are
in
we
the
sure
Pokemon
that they
games.
don't?
Not in the games that I've seen,
Yeah, good point. Holy
but
crap.
I think that is possibly why. I know. I saw Foxmar posted an image of them riding around in thin air because the motorcycle Pokemon just kind of
Yeah.
disappeared, and that was fun. But like anything like what we showed off in the story, where the person's limbs were like going around everywhere, I've never seen that. The bike thing with the elongated
Like,
arms, I haven't seen, but at the same time, I do think that's a multiplayer.
Both. I mean, both
thing.
of those situations, they were like standing beside somebody else. So I think
Who
that
looked-
was.
yeah,
a
that's
multiplayer,
what I
yeah.
mean when I say I think some of the bigger ones are like actually in multiplayer mode. Some of the other stuff that people are running into, I think, are just when you're playing on your own. And I know that can bug people. I'm still having fun. I went to play Pokemon the other night. I was like, I'll just play this game for an hour. I'll do it really quick.
Yeah.
And then it was 4 a.m. and I'd been playing for 4 hours, and it's just like it was like Breath of the Wild for me. I'd barely gotten anywhere, and I just wanted to get to the other side of the fence.
If only-
But there was just person in the way, and I had things to do.
Wake up the Snorlax.
If only it was more like Breath of the Wild.
It's like Team
terms-
Star
terms
has
of
blocked off
visual
the path I want
Acuity,
to go.
yeah. And like what's funny is that seems to be the predominant opinion though, right? Is that Scarlet and Violet have been really fun for however many millions of people I think have bought this thing so far. That it's like it's like everyone is aware of the glitches. Some people are having them, some people are not having them. And it's like
In some ways,
it could even be everybody's having them in different ways.
in
But-
some ways, it's a testament to how much fun the game is that people are still playing.
And
it.
that's what they're saying is it's like the game is still really super fun. I kind of don't care that it's jank as hell. This has happened before, and like Sword and Shield apparently had that problem. I again didn't play it, but it's like
Sword and Shield was much less this problem.
yeah, and it just kind of makes me
When
think
I
it's like
played it.
I feel like yeah, they're just people are like whatever. It's like playing Bethesda games or like anything else. The Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Paris was like this. You know, like that kind of horseshit. It's like I'm still having a lot of fun, so I'm gonna keep playing it. And it's like cool. It's in a way that feels to me like it's like the developer gets to skate a bit on having bad.
Oh, it certainly.
Yeah, because they're like we'll accept it as the base because we know that you're gonna fix it. It's like thanks, and it's like we just wish you had it out fixed properly to begin with.
So there was
That's
a
all.
Nintendo Life article that dropped, I think, this morning, yesterday, about how there are people who are trying to get refunds for their digital copies.
Okay.
And some people are managing to get that through, others are not.
Right.
It's typically...
It's not like Nintendo has been like, we'll give refunds to anybody.
Nintendo doesn't typically really give out refunds on their digital stuff,
Right.
from what I can tell, but occasionally people can kind of get that through. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if you went to play the game and it just really breaks it for you, then I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for a refund for it.
Yeah.
At the same time, at this point, if you're like, I haven't bought the game yet, and I'm watching videos of this, and this is going to bother me, maybe don't buy it.
Yeah.
Because I really kind of think the whole thing is we shouldn't be telling people to pre-order shit if this is the state of stuff that comes out. At the same time, I'm really having a lot of fun with the game, so
Like, I think, I mean, as somebody who was excited about this game to play it co-op,
I still have to figure out how that works.
I am definitely a little like my concern is not that it's it's like there's all these problems or whatever, and of course lots of other games, you said Bethesda and Ubisoft and stuff, all these other games have had issues at when they came out, and generally got fixed as time went on. I have a little bit of concern that the Switch itself and Nintendo and Game Freaks and stuff doesn't necessarily have that culture of sort of bug fixing that PC games do. Like PC games, it's expected that even if the game is like, mostly good when it comes out, it's expected that there'll probably be a few updates as it goes along. And whereas, I feel like even though updates are much more common now, Switch games are still tend to be in that mode where the game is what it is, unless there's something like really breaking, and then they'll fix it. But just like random like performance updates and that kind of stuff seems less common.
I think that depends on what their threshold for performance updates are. Like you said, there's definitely been several games that have launched. Like I believe Paper Mario Origami King. Actually, several Pokemon games in the past on the 3DS have had weird save bugs that will corrupt the file.
Several Zelda
or
games.
do whatever, and they always fix those, and they fix them generally quite quickly.
Right, because that's game breaking.
That's game breaking.
I mean, and that was a big thing at the time too.
Right.
But I assume they're going to do DLC for this game, and because of the outrage on some of it, I could see them trying to patch certain things. I just don't know that it would necessarily be a priority as long as the game's not constantly crashing or something.
Right. Yeah.
Which I've not had happen.
And if it was, of course, if it was like a PC game, you can imagine that people, there's all sorts of amazing, high res texture packs and stuff for Skyrim that like make the whole thing. Because the other thing that you see in some of the screenshots and the videos and stuff is the tiling on the textures and stuff in Pokemon does not look great. And so you can imagine that like an update could fix that kind of stuff.
I
feel like it's probably not going to.
I don't imagine they'll necessarily fix things like texturing.
Yeah.
I could see them maybe trying to fix some stuff so that your character doesn't get elongated arms, or the bike doesn't disappear. I could see some of that getting fixed.
Will be whatever the like, there'll be like the Pokemon, whatever, something Scarlet and something Violet as like the fancy re-release that comes out in like 2 or 3 years.
Blushing Scarlet and Shrinking Violet.
Sure, yeah. That like comes out with the new with like the engine from the game they have done the last couple ones or something. Anyway,
Frankenstein notes says 100% got the impression they were pushed into adding the open world stuff after Arceus did so well, and that messed with their dev plans. That would be, obviously, it would be a lesson to take home from that. Though I'm pretty sure Scarlet and Violet were started before Arceus even came out.
I don't think you start an open world. You just add open world to a game you're working on.
If you're already speccing out a game that early.
Because Arceus came out in January. Like, there's no...
There would not be enough time in a dev cycle to do that. You were going to say...
Well, I was going to say, interesting thing in the comments to the ChillPoint video, because you mentioned that the idea of like Arceus and Scarlet Violet probably were on different dev teams.
An overlapping kind of.
But someone in the comments was saying, like, if you look at the credits, there are actually a lot of overlap.
Okay.
In terms of developers, which is kind of interesting.
So it might be that a production team, you have that kind of like.
Or that as soon as Arceus was out, a whole bunch of people got pulled off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I could see that being the case too, where it's like your core production teams are always separate. Maybe the 10 or 15 people at the core of a game, where it's like whoever did Sword and Shield is not the same 10 people who might have worked on X, but maybe those 10 people from Sword and Shield came into Arceus to work on lower end things before they started working on, okay, we're going to be working on the next core game or whatever it is they're doing, or maybe we're going to be working on Diamond and Pearl, Brilliant and whatever, Brilliant and Shining. And it's like, I could, definitely see that. And then you have that sense of, well, whatever's going on at that level for these production teams, by and large, the programming teams, the art development teams, everybody else, a lot of the same people within Game Freak, or maybe even outside companies that they're pulling in to do a lot of work on that. But so a lot of speculation though. I think it'd be really interesting to see somebody like do a great pull down on here's what we know from how Game Freak does development in a broader sense. Because you see how like here's what's wrong with Scarlet and Violet. It's like there's a dozen of those videos out already. But to be like here's how Game Freak's development culture seems to work. I'd be like if that's sourced properly, it might be a really interesting look at how Pokemon is made.
That might not be something you can really we'd even see for like several years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need people to be to leave the company and then their NDAs to expire and then be like, okay, here's what really happened.
Yeah, so it all went down.
Yeah, because I can totally believe that someone said, hey, we should do an open world game. And that's honestly why I think Arceus went the way it went.
Yeah.
Rather than necessarily Scarlet and Violet. But maybe the moment they announced Arceus, because there was a lot of hype for like, is this an open world game? People weren't sure at first when it came out. I could see that, but I really kind of think that was part of their plan was to go this way.
Well, also the reception around Sword and Shield was that it was like, this thing looks like it's supposed to be an open world game.
There's that too.
Expansive vistas, like all this kind of stuff, but it is very linear. It locks you into certain things. It's, again, all stuff I've heard. I've not actually played the game.
It's okay. It's kind of boring.
But it plays like your standard ass, older style Pokemon game, and people didn't want that because they're like, well, look at how big and beautiful and 1080p and everything's awesome, and it's like, so we're expecting this, it didn't happen, like what? And that might have been the thing that made production within Game Freak stand up and be like, oh, people actually want this to be this. And then they're like, well, we're already working on Arceus, and it's like, well, maybe we'll start pushing the other thing forward like that too. And even now it's still not truly
Sword
open
and
world.
Shield had like these specific areas. It's been so long since I played it and I never finished it.
Yeah.
There's like these areas you went into that felt a little bit more open world-ish, which is why like I could totally see around then their plans for the next one to go more open world rather than Pokemon Legends came out and everyone thought open world was great and so then they added it. But I just don't think there's enough time in between those ones.
And I feel like if you have this idea of an open world game, like to me now open world basically means, can I start the game and can I just immediately go fight Ganon? Like that kind of idea. Can I just can I just can I pick up my Sprigatito and go fight
It's the Elite Four?
The Elite Four and then your rival or the King Pokemon?
Rival depends on how they decide to do rival. This time it's a very over enthusiastic person who really is very excited about fighting, but she's not really a rival in that same sense of like that person who starts out and just like, I hate you and we're going to fight now.
You should be able to just start there and be like, F it, and just run to the end of the game and be like, let's fight. And then at that point you can be like, either the person there is like, yes, or they'll be like, no. Who the hell are you're a 10-year-old child? You haven't even did you even name your Sprigatito? You didn't even name your Sprigatito.
Mine's named is Spriggs.
So there you're a step further along from the imaginary person in my head. It's like, yeah, you could gate things like that, but it's like you should be able to have the opportunity to do that. And it doesn't sound like the game gives you the opportunity to move beyond the more linear things they're laying out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what isn't open world is sort of a larger discussion, but I think there's a technical. There's like open world from a technical sense in the sense of like how the engine is actually constructing things, and then there's from a sort of gameplay perspective, because you can make a game that from a gameplay perspective effectively feels like an open world game, but is actually doing some tricky stuff behind the scenes. So that it's not technically an open world game.
It's locking you in.
And then you can make open world games that are fully open world and are, streaming everything and you can go, but because of how the world is generated, you're actually kind of on a linear path.
Yeah, that's true. So Pokemon Scars and Violence is 3 different storylines that you can go after, and I think you can go after all of them. One is your basic, go fight all the gyms and be the best that there ever was. One is help this dude get secret ingredients for sandwiches or whatever. I've only fought one Titan Pokemon, and you got to fight giant Titan Pokemon so that he can get to those ingredients. And then the other one is Team Star is full of themselves and certainly thinks they're a gang, and let's take them down a peg. I've hacked into your phone, mysterious person who could have just phoned me, but has decided hacking into my phone is funny.
Is hacking into your phone just calling you? Like
it feels like it.
How is that different?
They don't have caller ID. I don't know how they just not have that turned on. And you gotta go fight. So you gotta go fight Team Star, and I'm like, I like that you went with 3 different storylines. I'm glad one of them is not collect all of the Pokemon, though I bet that's just kind of like secret storyline 4, because that you need other people to do that, and so maybe that's harder to solve for. Did they all have to involve just beating up Pokemon? Could there have not been a storyline that was just, I want to go help some people and I don't have to trash everyone on the way there?
I was gonna say those storylines sound a lot like fight a bunch of people with your Pokemon, fight a bunch of people with your Pokemon, and fight a bunch of people with your Pokemon.
Yeah,
or it's like
kinda.
defeat Team Star. How do you do that? Oh, you fight a bunch of people with your Pokemon. Get these ingredients. How do you do that? You fight a bunch of people with your Pokemon.
Okay, I will say, because I have fought Team Star once. I fought a Titan Pokemon, and then I went into the gym because it was nearby. And in a weird way, I feel like you could do. The game kind of wants you to try to do all 3 things at the same time in what feels a little linear to me. But because I've tried to go around Team Star, and it seems to be hard to do, which is why I was like, fine, I'll go fight you. And so, spoilers. This fire section of Team Star, I go in and I have to go fight a bunch of random Pokemon by just throwing my Pokemon out and letting them win to drive this person out so I can go do the boss fight, because they won't come out and accept my challenge unless I do something to aggravate them. And then I fought them. They came out in this giant fire truck thing, and I was like, okay. This thing says they've got like 2 Pokemon or 3 Pokemon or whatever, and I get rid of their 2 Pokemon. I'm like, great. And they're like, great, fight the truck I'm riding. And I'm like,
That's not a Pokemon.
That's a Pokemon?
We were told
Wait,
that
can I catch this thing? What?
is it truck?
It's just
Car?
it's really funny. I will give them that. I was just like, what? What am I doing now? Because you can catch.
It's against the rules.
There's like, because there's your motorcycle Pokemon that you start with, right? And everyone was like, oh, it's legendary that you get. They exist in the wild. They just don't look like that. This is like some sort of mutation thing that's happened to one of them or something.
Oh,
I don't know yet. I haven't gotten that far.
They don't like. They aren't like motorcycle Pokemon driving around.
Driving around.
Oh, nice.
On the grass. They're green. They
That's
don't
awesome.
look as fancy.
Right, because Kodaidon and Miraidon are motorcycles, essentially.
They're
so yeah.
Cycleodon something.
Sure, yeah.
I haven't really bothered to learn any Pokemon names. I decided to name all my Pokemon this time, and because of that, I'm not learning any of their actual species names. I'm just like, well, that one, that's Spriggs. So every time you're like, oh, Sprigatino, I'm like, right, no, I know which one that is.
Yeah. I definitely did the thing where like I named the Pokemon that I care about, and then I was like, you Pokemon, I'm not going to give you a name.
I called Fido Cinnabon because that made me happy.
Yeah.
And but most of them have been like just shortened versions of their names, except for Diglett. I decided to call Diggit because I thought it was funny to be like, yeah, go dig it.
I was really big on giving my Pokemon I got a Magikarp and I named it Death Tide. In anticipation of when it became a scary Pokemon.
Right.
So the aspirational name.
Yeah. It was like aspirational. But anyway. So that I'm sure
Does that answer
more.
your question?
I'm curious. We'll see over the next week or two whether there is any public statements or just updates.
I assume there will not be public statements. Sometimes Nintendo just does updates to things and they don't say anything, but we will get those articles from the Nintendo sites who will run out of other news to talk about because they only focus on Nintendo. Will be like, hey, did you notice the game runs better all of a sudden?
Yeah.
There was an update. We noticed.
Or they do there's always the like Apple thing where they go like, this is not a problem. No one is having this problem. On a completely unrelated note, we just released an update that fixes the thing that wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
I kind of
fixes?
expect it to go like that.
Yeah,
if anything.
having an update for the Pokemon game just literally be bug fixes and performance improvements will be like, wow, that is the most I've ever seen that paper over anything.
Yeah.
And,
Everyone will be applauding, like, yes, that's what we needed, just those 2 things.
For anyone who's watching this as a YouTube video who wants to say things like you're part of the problem, don't care, and I'm having fun.
That's the point.
And if you think we have to make Nintendo notice, trust me, I'm pretty sure they've noticed. Whether they do anything about it doesn't mean they haven't noticed.
Yeah.
It just,
And it may not even be.
go for a walk.
It may not even be their responsibility. It might just be all up to Game
The
Freak.
Pokemon Company, Game Freak, /
Yeah.
Nintendo, whoever you want to lay your blames at.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure at this point they've noticed.
Uh,
That doesn't mean
in-
people do things about it.
and whether or not you're playing the new Pokemon game, you could be very comfortable sitting in your Pokemon skin chair.
Mm-hmm. But people did not receive that as well as I thought they would.
I mean,
Oh, no?
I don't know.
Why not?
It looks like a chair
What-
for a child.
It does. Well, that's the
feel
problem.
like it might be too small for me.
$200 for that, and it's not even big enough to hold an adult.
Mm.
Also, I'm a little disappointed in you, Beach, because I know you told everyone about the skin Snorlax.
Yeah.
But I'm disappointed that you did not take me up on my idea that instead of stuffing it with polyfill, which, by the way, was a killer line, and you definitely called out
Oh,
a million
so
people,
many people.
in the audience.
Mm.
But I am disappointed that you didn't say that you could stuff it with yourself and wear it as an outfit.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because that was my suggestion
That
when we
is-
were looking at them.
That is actually just realized because that Snorlax
It looks big enough. I could probably
is
fit it.
200 centimeters tall.
Yeah.
It's taller than me, which means I could crawl inside it.
It's
Wear the
basically
skin
just
of
a
Snorlax.
Kigurumi.
Yeah. $100 really nice looking Kigurumi that I can't see out of, but whatever.
You can cut some eyes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides, Snorlax is sleeping. Nobody
I mean,
expects him to see.
It's basically a combination of a Kigurumi and like a Tauntaun that you're getting inside
Can't
to
even-
keep warm.
I cannot even imagine what it feels like on the inside. It must just be scratchy as hell. But yeah.
Like, they make plushies of, like, Pikachu and other Pokemon basically wearing other Pokemon as skins. So I
True.
don't really see the difference
Yeah.
between
Yep.
me wearing the skin of a Pokemon.
It's
For
true.
fun.
Speaking of things wearing other things as their skin, Activision Blizzard.
Uh-huh.
There's a couple stories about them. Things are going on. In particular, this story was talking about that they were having some trouble in China because their relationship with NetEase has whatever.
Evaporated?
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended.
They have not been able to renegotiate the contract or whatever with NetEase, which, if you don't know, there's a thing in China that foreign companies have to partner with a local Chinese with a Chinese company in order to actually do business in China. There's some odd just the way they have things set up. So so they're apparently haven't been able to come to an agreement, which means that a bunch of Activision Blizzard games, such as World of Warcraft and all that kind of stuff, will be no longer available in China, at least
until they can find somebody else to partner with.
right. At least they can find until they can
That's
find.
that's going to be their.
Presumably there'll be there are other opportunities, but I mostly enjoyed this for the NetEase going. NetEase going. This will not. The losing of Activision Blizzard as our partner, which one of the largest North American developers, will not have no material impact on NetEase's financial results.
Such a vicious thing
I don't
to
need
say.
you to help pay rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very like, oh, you thought that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, haha. Oh,
You thought
I'm
I'd
sorry.
keep you around because of all the money you had.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we were. That's not why. Yeah.
But Diablo
NetEase-
Immortal is still going to be available for them.
Yeah, NetEase is a very, very large company.
Yeah. And I mean, that's an interesting point, right? That it's like not everything that Activision Blizzard was making is now disappearing from there. It's just the things that were under this agreement.
Right.
And so, yeah, because Diablo Immortal still being available, it's like, frankly...
Or will be available.
Will
I
be
think it's not
available,
actually currently being sold there.
But that idea of you could sign a multitude of agreements with a whole bunch of different companies, and then you could have a different relationship with a whole bunch of different companies there, is completely something.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
but
probably
that's-
smaller companies within China that might be looking at this and being like, yeah, I could see we could go talk to.
But that's what I mean. They probably
ABK,
have
right?
other relationships with other companies, so for them to have to pivot to get a thing is inconvenient, but will probably happen.
Yeah, this will be resolved within a couple of months, probably, with them being like, we've entered into a new agreement with some sort of other company you've
It's
never
okay.
heard of.
I'm
and it'll be
dating
fine.
so and so now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Speaking
And
of that hot
speaking
goss.
Yeah, speaking of hot high school goss, this is also related to Activision Blizzard, and in particular the Microsoft takeover of.
You guys
Activision
got
Blizzard.
so mad.
Ed Beach doing the voice.
What? No, they didn't.
Cool.
There were a couple
People in the comments thought it was great.
There were people in the comments who were just like, I can't, don't ever do it again. It was so much. It was too much. And I'm like, oh my God.
OMG, you guys.
Yeah.
God.
It's
think-
fine.
I
Because I
think-
hate it when she does it to me. So
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
I have a fangirl
I-
adaptation that I do towards Beach sometimes, and he hates it so much.
I think maybe you like picked out the one or two comments that didn't like because there.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw it there, when I was looking at the comments, there were vast majority were thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I knew people thought it was funny, but I also knew that like they're also like, please don't. You don't have to keep doing it anymore.
I mean, to be
you're
fair,
doing it
when I do it to you,
deliberately
I
too
touch your
annoying.
face and I do
Yeah.
some very uncomfortable things.
No.
So the
If you think I'm gonna stop, I'm not gonna stop. But I got to pick another story where it's a good one.
the quick thing with this is
It's not
that
an everyday voice.
is that this idea that again, I mean I talk about this a lot, but I love when these companies, these large companies, have to make official statements to regulators
Right.
and things that are diametrically opposed to the usual kinds of statements that they make to the public, where they have to downplay things. So so Microsoft or Activision Blizzard, because they want to make sure they want regulators to not to not be too concerned. They want to emphasize that Call of Duty is not actually that good a game, and in fact it doesn't really get like it's not on the tops of anybody's like best games ever lists. There's lots of other games that are very similar to it.
Yeah.
That people like better.
It doesn't even end up in the top 10 most
They
times.
think
Jesus.
they think we're really great, and we're not. We're not that great.
Like it's just it's great to just see like the same sort of marketing speak being used for the opposite of what it usually is.
Yeah.
I went to because there was that article that was like, oh, there's a bunch of them. There was like, was it Sony wants us to be like Nintendo, and people were using that as
Or
similar-
Microsoft wants Sony to be like Nintendo.
Microsoft wants Sony to be like Nintendo, and I saw subheaders that said that, and it was like, so is that just people writing the articles saying that? Is that like a view lens? And I go and I look, and that's like
No.
literally in the quote, and I'm like, oh, I see.
It's because
What?
it's like essentially Microsoft is like Call of Duty is not that important. I mean, look, Nintendo doesn't have Call of Duty, and they're doing great.
Yeah.
And Sony, in response to that, Sony is like Nintendo and Microsoft are both in the console business, but they are not competing
No.
along any axis, really.
It's true.
And what Microsoft wants Sony to also, like right now, Sony and Microsoft are basically head to head. Almost every game is a cross-platform release or is a multi-platform release. Each of them only have a few console exclusives, and they're fighting basically directly on specs.
Yeah.
And Sony is like, Microsoft wants us to not compete like that. They want us to be off doing other kinds of games so that we're not in competition. I mean, I would argue that Nintendo's doing really, really well.
Yep.
So maybe that's like not a terrible idea.
That's what I'm thinking, because I'm like, Microsoft's like, oh, you should be more like Nintendo. It's like, yeah, Sony, maybe if you actually did really, like, if you really double down, like, forget it. We're going to just create a whole bunch of our own stuff. only for us, only console exclusive, only do these things. It's like there seems to be that's a viable solution, and you can still be big in the video game market that way. But instead, it's like no, we're competing in this area, and it's like well, then I guess that's competition.
I did enjoy the dig that you made about maybe they should do crossplay because Sony is generally very obviously against crossplay.
Yeah, that
but the
felt good.
problem is crossplay is also used in another world of people that
I
I
know.
hang out with, and so I immediately was just like, did Beach just tell Sony to go out and do cosplay as crossplay?
Yes, I did.
I'm pretty sure we've at least used that for like lower third headings a few times in stories.
Nobody got it in the comments anyway, but that was part of the thing. It's like, maybe
just-
he wants to get taken seriously. They should try some crossplay. And I'm kind of like, is anyone going to
Yeah.
pick up on this? Oh, nobody
I mean,
picked
I
up on it.
have a whole comic that happens in my brain about personified versions of the consoles that is not whatever that other anime thing is. It's just mine.
It's not Hyperlight Neptuna.
Yeah. Yeah, no, mine's actually cute and innocent and not full of boobs.
Well.
But by and large,
But,
like
yeah.
it's
And I have a whole
interesting
crossplay
to see.
episode to play.
It's interesting to see the fight play out like this because it is as you say very funny to see Microsoft be like, why would you even want this? It's not even worth anything. We're not going to we were doing you a favor by giving it to you for like a period of time, and I kind of also feel like, look, if Sony wanted this bad enough, if this is enough of a system seller for them that they're like, we definitely want to have Call of Duty all the time, 100%, whatever. I'm like, then you maybe should have also tried to buy Activision Blizzard before Microsoft did. If that was that important to your console that you could never live without it, I could see you trying to do the integration. And that's not like I'm advocating that everybody should just get out there and vertically integrate because that leads to some terrible shit. But there didn't seem to be that much of a push from their side for it, and now they're in this position. It's like, well, we don't want to get caught out. I'm like, I can understand that too.
I mean, I'm a little confused by Microsoft because they were constantly doing things where they were like, "Hey, we want to be on everything.
Yeah.
We're on everything."
Yeah.
And now they're like, "You can't have everything."
Well, no, well, that's the other thing though. Is they've said so. The I mean, of course, the other side of Microsoft or Activision being like, Call of Duty is not that good. Nobody, people play it, but it's not that unique, whatever. The other half of that is Sony being like, there are literally no good games for PlayStation. If you take away Call of Duty, we're in deep trouble.
The one person you're not hearing about, Activision Blizzard is sitting at that lunch table watching this fight go down, and it's just kind of like, hey, he said something mean about Call of Duty. Shut up.
But
just don't say anything. I thought you liked Call of Duty.
Last week, actually, there was a story about, again, we did a thing on ChillPoint like a few months ago. Phil Spencer and whatever the guy from Sony have been having this back and forth about specifically Call of Duty, but also
Jonathan
others.
Sony.
Yeah.
About this idea of that because they've made a commitment to like Call of Duty will stay multi-platform for 5 years or something.
Yeah. And then I heard
Right.
10 years even.
And then the guy, Phil Spencer is like, okay, guys, look, we can't say we can't make a legal agreement that says Call of Duty will always be available on PlayStation.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of reasons why we can't make that like into the next millennium.
It's not a
in
thing
perpetuity.
it's not a thing you want to say out loud like that. That's too broad.
Yeah.
Because things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe Sony won't keep making consoles, or
Yeah.
maybe they'll start making consoles that have a completely different architecture that you can't port too easily.
Or maybe at some point we'll be like, look, we own the studio and we decided that nobody wants to play Call of Duty anymore, so we're getting rid of it. And Sony's like,
Yeah.
you have to keep
Yeah.
making it, even though nobody's buying it.
Yeah,
So-
there are legally reasons why you don't want to say stuff like that.
Yeah. So we're just kind of reasonable, but this is the back and forth between like Sony being like arguing about it. So there was I believe I saw a story that came out yesterday or today that it hasn't happened yet, but it is suspected that the government will the regulators will be trying to block this.
Yeah.
The sale so they've been going back and forth on this, trying to appease regulators on this, and
The EU, I think, is definitely having
the current whatever industry pundits believe that they're in the next week or so there's going to be something coming down that is going to try to put a kibosh to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because, that means while we're in December, we'll have more to talk about than just the Game Awards.
Yeah. Guess whose 30th anniversary it is?
Oh, good.
Tails.
He's back in the news.
Is Tails as old as Sonic?
He's from Sonic 2.
Tails as old as Sonic.
So we might be back in. It might be Tails' 30th anniversary. It's like soon.
Oh yeah, that'll be
We
fun.
might move into that. Anyway,
What about Amy
The
Rose?
year of Tails.
What about Big the Cat?
the
Not just a name, but a command.
one of the creators of Sonic, Yuji Naka, has been arrested as part of a larger insider trading thing.
I love that what you've said is technically correct, but is also not what anybody ever says. Because he's always like, oh, Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic. And then sometimes the co-creator of Sonic, like there's two guys. And you're like, one of the creators of Sonic. One person who was on a team of people who came up with this whole thing. And it's like, that's the most accurate
Oh.
thing.
Right now,
What-
people like to say he's the creator of Bad
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
World, whatever it's called.
So this is, this is sort like his affiliation with Sonic is very separate. It was very unrelated to this whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
It just happens to be that was something he did. Apparently there's some insider trading stuff with people at Square or executives at Square Enix buying shares or in a game development studio just before they announced that studio would get Dragon Quest Mobile or Dragon Quest Tact, which is the tactics version, the mobile tactics.
Well,
game.
this is when I found out they were making a tactics game for
Yeah.
Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
And then it was on mobile, and then I realized why I didn't know.
So yeah.
Also, the amount of money he got pinched for is like laughable too, right? Because it's 20 grand, and the other guys were doing like 300 grand each, and he like was a very 20 grand is like that's a lot of money. I wouldn't mind having that show up in my wallet, but it's also like it's not a lot of money when it comes down to corporate malfeasance. And here we are, like he got pinched for it apparently, like these other guys did, and I'm just like, yeah, that's nice to see when that kind of crap happens.
I enjoyed Graham's writing of the story when he said things like, there were two other people, but they're not this person, so therefore not nearly as fun to talk about. And like,
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah, that's why articles get written in this way. It's
Yeah.
also why those articles keep pointing out what he made or what people know him for, because they're like, no one's gonna, if we just write who it is,
Yeah, only the people who know that person.
no one's gonna click on our things.
Yeah, random Square Enix executives aren't that interesting to talk about.
It's why you often get articles that are like, oh, former employee of Nintendo says this thing, and then I go and I look and I'm like, oh, that former employee of Nintendo worked at PR, and why would they know anything about the dev cycle of necessarily these things? What's going on?
They were a Blue Badger, and as we know, Nintendo doesn't tell Blue Badgers shit.
All right, let's talk about some stories that we didn't
I
talk
think they're
about.
making a Blue
Yay.
Badger plushie on Fangamer soon.
Nice.
Nice.
Phoenix Wright.
Of the Phoenix Wright, the Ace Attorney
Yeah,
series.
he's Blue Badger.
Oh, there was the other thing about how Peach's Castle is now a Halo Infinite.
Oh,
Forge World,
somebody
which is
made somebody made Peach's
right.
Castle
Yeah.
in Halo Infinite.
That was fun.
There's a new update for Witcher 3 came out.
Okay.
The anime, the video game, the
See? They,
Netflix
the video game.
something.
they're still upgrading it. It sucked that bad. They're still upgrading it.
Which console?
So this is the next gen update. It's going to bring a bunch of stuff for like PS5 and Xbox Series X stuff
Okay.
Cool.
to bring ray tracing and
It's
fancy things like that.
That's awesome.
We're doing an upgrade for you who have the backwards compatibility thing into the new system.
That's pretty cool.
They're adding some cool photo mode stuff. Apparently, many of the people who were pulled off the Witcher 3 team to work on Cyberpunk, and now are come
back
back
on
to
the yeah.
working-
Okay.
Nice.
I have a question about the photo mode stuff.
Mhm.
Is it just like a normal photo mode of like you can take photos, or is it I can take selfies? I can take
don't.
selfies of my Witcher self.
I don't know if he's got like a Witcher. He like attaches a phone to the end of one of his swords, and I don't. As
Yeah.
far as I know,
Because I'm really digging video games letting me take selfies. Because I don't like taking selfies, but I like taking video game selfies.
I did. Yeah, it's good.
Excuse me.
They are turning on. They are implementing cross progression, as in if you've got the game on one console, your save and your progression will transfer over.
Oh, the
When
cross save stuff.
When you
yeah.
go to your grandma's house, you can play it on a different console.
Exactly. You can
Yeah.
play it on your grandma's.
old PS4 while you have your new PS5.
Yeah. Or your grandma's PS5.
Yeah, Grandma's definitely the one with the PS5.
She's got time to stand in line.
She's just like, you'll get this when I say. You get this.
There's also a new armor set that's from Netflix's Witcher series. So there's like a Geralt from Netflix Witcher, including that will be part of a whole new, like, it's not which is kind of nice. It's not a DLC thing. It's like they're adding a new quest that you go through and you get the schematics for the armor and
That's
stuff.
cute.
Which is kind of cool.
Alright.
Yeah.
I like it when they do that.
Anyway, they're adding both a slow walk mode and a like toggle sprint mode. So, however you want to walk or move in the game.
Yeah. Don't need an analog stick anymore. Just go hard.
Oh, and this is actually a big one that I've heard from multiple people, like way back in the day.
Okay.
They have finally allowed larger font sizes for subtitles.
Hey.
Apparently, Witcher is famous for having incredibly squinty
actually, they
subtitles.
were. That was like one of the things I always heard about this
good.
game was the subtitles were super small. Good.
And the ability to pause cutscenes, which should always be there in every game.
Please. As a streamer who's had the stream go down in the middle of a cutscene, I would really love to be able to pause the cutscene so I could get the stream back online. Because then I have to get the stream back online and then tell people what happened in the cutscene. Or pave my save, and that's generally not happening. Not pave, I guess. Go back to the last checkpoint. I don't know.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla
Okay.
has been an Epic Store exclusive since it launched in 2020.
Okay.
Wow, that's a long time.
Because Epic and Ubisoft have kind of got a deal going on so more than 2 years ago.
I should hope so.
But you'll be happy to know. So the good news is it's no longer going to be exclusive, and it's no longer going to be an Epic exclusive. It is going to be available on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
The bad news is, coincidentally, that coincides exactly with the end of Ubisoft ending the support for the game.
Wow. It's like, I don't want to hear from all y'all on Steam about this.
So post-launch support for Assassin's Creed Valhalla ends the same day as it goes on sale in the Steam marketplace.
This will be an interesting
Alright.
thing, I think, because it's like, is
the
maybe
game is perfect, so there's no need for
Absolutely.
for support.
I'm sure.
I think
it's absolutely perfect.
I could never make the story about this, but what I think is interesting is the idea that's like, if this game was PC exclusive on the Epic Games Store for all this time, and now they're going to put it on Steam, what are sales going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
And how much? I mean, for one thing, it's like how much is it going to sell for? I'm sure it's gone on sale before on the Epic Store, like that kind of thing. But it's like, how big is the market once you get off of a single platform
when Paul
like
says
that?
it goes on sale on Steam, I don't think he means it's being discounted.
Well, no. I mean, it could go on sale, right? It could be like, well, it's 2 years old.
Is there like this pent-up demand for people who really wanted the game but refused to get it on Epic?
That's what I mean. It's like, that will be really interesting to be like, were there people who want to play Assassin's Creed, because Paul likes to play Assassin's Creed, and what if Paul didn't have an Epic Game Store account and he refused to get one on some sort of ideological grounds and was like, I'm going to wait until this thing comes out on Steam, and you've been waiting.
That is not a thing that I do.
Paul wants to clarify that it's not him, but he is mythical.
You would have had to have waited like 2 years
Yeah.
before you have an opportunity to buy it.
That's somebody who's really committed to
The thing.
No.
Yeah. And that I think will be really telling to be like, well, how big were the sales? Are there people who
just saying, no, this giant corporation doesn't get my money. This giant corporation
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
If this was console based as a thing, I could see it because that's physically buying an object, whereas Epic and Steam are both PC storefronts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you download for free and then just grab from wherever. But I also have so far managed to not download Epic. But I also don't play games on Steam if I can help it either.
But this is like Tunic.
Tunic I was given a code for.
Right. But it was only available on Xbox, but you still did it
Did it on Steam.
You did it on Steam, right. But it's like, I'm waiting for Tunic to have a physical release on the Switch, if it's going to get one, and then we'll probably get a copy of it at that point physically. I'm not buying even the digital copy. I'm like, I'm the holdout that everybody hates.
I think if it goes on sale enough, you'd crack.
Maybe, yeah.
I love this is a great idea. Somebody Daily Maple Syrup saying that it would be that would be the big brain move on Epic's part is
Right.
when it goes on when it becomes available in the Steam store, release it, put it up for free on the Epic store.
Oh, yeah.
Like put it as like because they are still releasing, they're still giving away games every week.
That's really, yeah. You've had 2 years to sell exclusively, and then you're like, it's going to Steam, and like the day before it lands, you're like, by the way, it'll be free.
I mean,
that would be funny.
If I was Ubisoft or whatever, or like I would imagine that there's some sort of agreement that they can't, like, literally can't do that. But anyway,
well, I guess we'll just see how well it does on Steam, because if it does well, there will be articles about it.
Yeah.
Mother.
I will get to Tunic. Don't worry.
Mother 3 is a game that people like a lot.
Absolutely.
It's a game people yell out about.
Or I should say, people really want to have. I get it's one of those things where it's like it might be one of those games where actually getting it will be disappointment.
Yeah.
It's the anticipation of getting it that people anyway.
Gotta edge them out.
So here, let me pull this up here.
What?
The
Am I using that wrong?
so the Mother logo,
Right.
the logo for Mother 3 looks like this.
Has a bunch of wood in it, yeah.
And it's like the metal with the wood stuff. And somebody has found what they believe to be the stock photo of wood that was used to make the wood texture on this.
This is why I like video game news. This piece here, people who just have so much commitment to a thing that I would never do.
Yeah.
Was there an explanation as to their own behavior, like to be like what kind of psychosis you need to actually see this through to the end, or is it like I gotta know? Were you doing this on purpose, or did it occur to you by accident? Like that's
because that's the thing. Because sometimes this is just something where you're going along in your everyday life, and then you're like, wait a minute, and you either find it, or it's just a thing you've noticed because it's a thing you're working on, or whatever. Or you're on the opposite end of that spectrum, and you've been digging for this for years.
Because every part of this just feels to me like this is machine learning. That's all this was. Is like, oh, I wonder if we could use this to find this. And
that's boring.
And then they turned it loose, and they're like, oh, we did.
That's boring.
It is boring.
Tell me that's not how this story ends.
I don't want to think that a person actually sat down and looked through it all. But please tell me about this.
I do. I'm a crafter. We sit down for very long periods of time, dedicated.
Fill me in, Paul.
Tell
what
them about
happened
the wood.
here?
So
we're making much too big a deal out of this for I think
we
Paul was
are.
expecting, but no, we're really
the
into
person,
this.
Pineapple Carl 3
Great.
is the guy who
Good
figured
name.
it out.
You and the other two pineapple Carls are killing it. So
Yeah. So you couldn't get there first.
Unfortunately, apparently they haven't found what they believe to be the rings part of the tree.
just the bark.
Yeah, but this is so. I think this is from some basically they going through like CDs and archives of of textures that would have been available
At that time.
At
yeah.
that
Okay.
time.
Makes sense. Yeah, why look for anything that came out in like 2010, right? It's like unless you know that the pictures came from 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like they like walked through the forest looking for that particular
no,
tree.
absolutely not. No.
Oh, but I would love the story to go that route too.
Let's be honest. That tree's been cut down for a while now.
Just the idea that someone's going around a forest with a camera
After-
and they're like, I found it. I finally found it.
And now I'll take it home.
After they did the logo, they had to cut down the tree so no one would ever be able to
Exactly.
replicate it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you get rid of the architect after you get them to architect.
So anyway.
That's what Discworld taught me.
What was that? Right, it was Discworld that did that. That's right. was
Well,
like,
I mean, it's not just Discworld that's done that kind of thing, but that was in. Was it the Sand one? Was
Pyramids.
Yeah, right. That's a
You made you make the most wonderful thing. Great. Now it's time to kill you,
Seal
so
you
no
in
one
it,
else
yeah.
will never.
that happens in
yeah.
like Greek mythology a lot
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah. It's not just. It's but that is you're correct, and that's where I'm pulling it from.
So in congratulations for getting closer to Skynet news.
hooray!
There's a new artificial intelligence or a new game playing artificial intelligence named Cicero, which is the first claims to be the first AI to achieve human level performance in the strategic board game Diplomacy.
Oh,
Oh no!
So
Oh.
what's interesting about this
Friendship
is
destroying computer.
diplomacy is a game where obviously you're making agreements between people and stuff.
Not
So this was
computer at
done.
all.
So this is online. So an online game of diplomacy where you and the different players are communicating through text based
Uh-huh.
stuff. So basically, this thing is a combination of the actual playing of the game,
Right.
evaluating what it needs to do, but then so if it's like it evaluates that it needs to take over this particular place or,
Right.
or get this, then it
Sign a
it-
mutual defense
and
pact.
but then it's also has the like GPT-3 natural language processing and generating things. So basically, they've taught an AI
how to lie.
that the AI evaluates who it needs to get onto its side,
Uh-huh.
and then what it needs to do. A combination of either lying or giving giving things to the person, or whatever it needs to do. It figures it out. And attempts to convince that person to be their ally.
Yes.
Look,
Like Real
I-
Gamer Cow has it. They taught an AI how to be an asshole.
I know sometimes we put a little baby AI out onto the internet, and then we get horrified because we realize that it just learns how to be racist and a bigot. Do we need to purposely put an AI into a game situation that we know is terrifying and awful?
As long as the lesson it learns is the only way to win is not to play, then I'll be pleased.
Okay,
That really should be rule zero of every AI. Is that they should just be taught the only winning move is not to play.
Yeah, all right.
I
I just fear for this baby AI's future.
Cicero can deduce, for example, that later in the game it will need the support of one particular player, and then craft a strategy to win that person's favor, and even recognize the risks and opportunities that player sees from their particular point of view. So it's like this person, thinks this person is going to be dangerous, so I'll help them with that, and then they'll help me. That's fun. I like that.
Right.
I like
that is
that.
right. That is fun.
I had a friend of mine. I never played Diplomacy before. He's like, "Do you want to play this?" I'm like, "Okay." He had like about 8 people coming over to play it. I'm like, "I guess, sure." He's like, "It's a lot of fun." I'm like, "Okay, sure, yeah, why not?" I'm like, "So what do I do? Where's the dice that I roll? How do I?" He's like, "No, it's just about talking with everybody. I don't know any of these other people.
Right.
He does. They're all his friends. I don't really know any of them, but he's brought me along for the ride to play this thing." And he's like, so all you have to do is just talk with people. You're going to see what everybody controls and where all their armies are and all that kind of stuff. And then you just have to like talk and make agreements with them about stuff to do. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, cool. And so
Everyone's like, let's kill bees.
well, so we start with, I'm like, I don't know anything about. So he's like, it's fine. I'll walk you through how this works. And he did.
That people can lie.
And then he said, and then he says, so probably the best thing to do, because he's playing like whatever group he's playing, is like, best thing for you to do because you're here. I think I was playing like Lithuania or something, and he's like, your best thing to do is to I would say if you were to do this, and then I can help you by doing this, because I'm right next door to you. I don't know if he was like Russia or if he was like another Baltic country. I can't remember any of that stuff. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. He's like, so all you have to do is just talk and make agreements with people with the things you're going to do so that you can try to expand your influence. And I'm like, okay, great. That sounds awesome. And so then he's like, but then we all execute all of our things at the same time. So we all went off, we had our conversations, we come back to the next thing. He's like, okay, here we go. And as I move my thing, he moves his shit into my whatever and takes over my country like immediately. And I'm just like, wait, hang on. He's like, well, that's the other part of the game, is that you lie so that you get what you want, because the whole point is that you're trying to win. And I'm like, I see. And I wasn't like down and out at that point, because I was like, I still have like
but it is
stuff I can
kind of
do.
an asshole move to not like warn you about
To
that
be
portion of the
invited
game
to the
first.
game, to be told these are the things you might want to do, to kind of give me a sense of the thing I should be doing, and then immediately betray me. I'm like, that is a very great lesson from somebody on how to play diplomacy. But what it also is a great lesson on why you never want to play diplomacy. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to talk to anybody else for the rest of the game. I'm not making agreements. I'm not going to listen to people when they talk to me. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to hole up here. I'm just going to sit there and wait for people to fucking destroy me. And they did, right? Somebody else came in and destroyed me at some point. I'm like, cool. So what do we do when we're done? What do we do? It's like, well, you can go do something else while the rest of us finish. I'm like, awesome. And I just walked away. I'm like, I'm going to go fucking do something else, because this was not fun. But hey,
like,
you did what you wanted to do, which was drive someone out of the game, and you did that.
I mean, I personally don't enjoy these types of games because I've found over the years that I do not like looking into the eyes of my friends and realizing they can lie to me straight up, and I will believe them.
Oh, yeah.
But also, that kind of move that you've just described, I would suggest is less a thing of why you shouldn't play the game and why you shouldn't be friends with that person.
Well, yeah, there's a bit of that, too. I mean, it's
he
like,
set you up to take you down.
Yeah.
The first time you went to play a thing, he's not there interested in helping you play
Yeah.
that game for a long time.
and
is he?
I appreciated
He's an asshole.
I appreciated everything he did there. Like, I'm like, I get what you did, but also that means that now I'm just done. So I'm just done. And I was like, not going to do this again. We can play other games in the future. I'll have a lot more fun later. But I'm not having fun now, and that was kind of a waste of my time.
No, friendship over for me.
Yeah.
All right, and that's all the stories I marked.
Oh, episode
this
over
week?
too, apparently.
But now, I did want to actually mention that last week was Desert Bus, and during Zeta Shift and Desert Bus, which was myself and Beej and Corey, we did a special sort of Desert Bus point.
Without me?
I know. You were probably asleep, or you should have been asleep.
I was definitely not watching.
It was like 4 a.m.
Yeah, I see. Not like I was asleep. It was I was not watching.
Whatever
hey, just because
you
you
do.
were home doesn't mean I couldn't do whatever I wanted.
It's true. It's true.
So anyway, if you're interested, you can check that out. It's over on the Desert Bus YouTube channel.
Yeah, it will not be on this YouTube channel because that was a Desert Bus thing.
Mm-hmm. I got very head up about some stuff, and maybe it'll make you uncomfortable to watch it. So just
Swear point. Wait, did you guys swear? You're not supposed to swear.
No. I had some deep opinions, and I needed to get them off my chest.
Well, I'm glad you did it there. You'll never do it here, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of the thing.
Beej doesn't have strong opinions on regular ChillPoint.
Just when I'm exhausted.
But I do think that there's one story that is worth checking out. Because there's an update to Monster Hunter.
Oh, that's Fire Emblem.
Wait, why does it say take your followers to
Wait,
the
this
next
is Fire Emblem.
This is Fire Emblem, right?
This is the
Was that not Fire Emblem?
level?
No,
That's not Fire Emblem.
Okay.
No, this is Monster Hunter.
Oh, why does it look like Fire Emblem?
I've never played a Fire Emblem where I can run around and fight monsters like that.
Why does it look like Xenoblade?
There's
Anyway.
a bunch of new monsters, which is great, and fun. But more importantly, there's a whole new set of plush weapons.
Hey, yeah, that's right. This is important. Oh yeah,
Oh, cat outfits.
outfits, makeup, and emotes.
Wait, is
wish-
there more? Maybe there's. Wait,
I
let
wish
me
I
go-
liked playing Monster Hunter. I really love the aesthetic and a bunch of stuff where
Let me go back.
and I've tried playing the game and it's not my jam.
The plush weapons are so good.
Yeah, there you go.
But I love all of this.
Ah!
I love the other stuff about it. I just don't want to play it.
Like every weapon type has a plush version.
Oh, I want to see people cosplay with the giant plush weapons.
And they will. Absolutely. I think that was the
Oh,
reason why they
yes.
made them.
It's so perfect,
Yeah.
right? It's
Oh,
like
yes, please.
And you'll
it's,
probably
it's like comes pre-peace bonded for
and you'll
you.
probably be able to buy like a $150 to $200 plush version of it that that maybe transforms, maybe it doesn't, but yeah. I mean, people will pay $300 or $400 for the transforming version of these things, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
chaotic gore.
See, I have a Monster Hunter hoodie because I love the design of it.
yeah.
Again, I don't play Monster Hunter. I like so much about it, and I just can't play it. And I was wearing it at the Moonbase the other day, and Jacob saw it. He's like, "I didn't know you liked Monster Hunter." I'm like, I don't, and I walked away.
I want to be honest with you, Paul. The hoodie that she has, the monster hoodie she has, you are wearing it right now.
It's the same
It's
blank,
it's by Independent. It's the
but
PRM
it's
90
red,
HTZ, but
and
it's in
got
red.
Like all this. Actually, I was thinking getting the blue one recently because I really like the blue
yeah.
and the pattern
I don't-
design on it.
I
I
don't
like
know- I
our
didn't-
hoodie. I just want different
Yeah.
things on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's like a confession that you have to make.
It just means that we could make this in red, and then
but that's not our color.
that's not our colors, right? We could make it in cream with tiny blue stripes because that's one that they've
I-
been trying to market and
I
nobody
love-
wants to buy
I
it.
love
It's
that
real
I mean,
cheap.
I mean, if they were
Beach
cheap,
hates it.
that
They're
could be
real
fun.
cheap, like $12 a blank, and I'm like, I could make discount hoodies.
Beach absolutely loves it when
All right, if-
we make up new merch that we could be doing that we're definitely not going to do, and now he's the one doing it.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. In the comments below, if you want a loading ready run hoodie,
Knockoff looking ready run hoodie.
in what do you say, cream with blue stripes?
Cream with tiny blue stripes.
So like
horizontal.
like pinstripe.
No, horizontal
Oh,
blue
horizontal.
stripes. Ones you can see, but they're not very big. They're not like Breton stripes. They're like.
All right. So cream with horizontal blue stripes at a discounted rate.
Yeah. I mean, they won't
Yeah,
they won't be
I
like
don't
$20. They will be more than that, but they won't be like as much as
don't-
our actual really nice.
I don't
hoodies.
want that in the YouTube comments. He's not going to read those.
I'll print it with the logo backwards.
Or
know
just
what you're gonna do?
like two circles and then the big circle.
I need
And
to
then
go-
the big circle, and then like just an arrow, like not without the curve at the back of the arrow.
if this is seriously a thing that you
Oh my
want,
God.
I don't want this in the YouTube comments. Yes, you need to go edit your YouTube
Go to the
comment right
Discord.
now. I need you to go to the Discord, or I need you to flood his mentions on Mastodon.
Yeah, start a thread
What
on,
is
on
it?
Discord. That would be
Text
really
Beach
funny.
At social, whatever. What's your Mastodon?
Is at beej at octodon.social.
Yeah, flood his Mastodon.
Yeah,
Don't
just-
flood my YouTube comments with that,
Lordy,
with that
lordy,
wreck.
word.
You're supposed to flood it with whether or not Paul is wrong or not. Don't think I've forgotten.
No, it's our
I need
20th
to know
anniversary
that
next
Paul
year.
is
I can just make a
wrong,
bunch
not
of joke
that.
merchandise. God, that's funny.
All right. Thanks everybody for
Yeah, or
watching.
Bug James.
Thanks everybody for joining us and watching. If you haven't watched the episode of ChillPoint that went up this week, you should check that out on the YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting us in all the ways you do on Patreon and through subscriptions, and on YouTube through the super chats or just subscribing to the channel. And if you are not subscribed to this channel, you should do that, and also click the little bell, because I'm told that does good things.
Want to point out as well, if you go to store.loadingreadyrun.com,
Oh yeah,
That's correct.
if you actually legitimately want one of these hoodies,
there's this hoodie.
the very very nice in blue hoodie.
Yeah.
We have the Pride shirt that Paul is actually also rocking. He's the only one wearing Lure merch today for some reason.
We might be out of a size on that right now, but put your
But-
email
This is
address
such
if you
a
want to
nice
let know.
combo.
but we have
Yeah.
a newer shirt that just arrived recently.
Yes, hang on.
I just
Let's
have
see.
one.
It's a good enough to play at one time speed
Yeah,
design that's brand new in the store, so I do want to point that out.
Yeah. Which
I believe
if
the
you
Bike
are-
Club shirts actually got a restock recently.
if
as
you
well.
are listening to this plug of our merchandise at higher than 1x speed, that's fine.
Yeah.
We don't really. It's fine if you want to watch your stuff at 2 times speed. There's plenty of reason to do it. But we are good enough to watch at 1x speed is what we're saying with this shirt. Or if you wear it, you're good enough to watch at 1x speed, and people can't make you run.
I like this design. It's awesome.
So, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to you later. Bye.